Good evening, everyone. I'm Shaun, and we'll bring you the top Singapore news tonight. For the first news, fresh graduates in Singapore still face a challenging job market despite the country's unemployment rate decreasing for 4 consecutive months in February. Companies in Singapore continue to implement hiring freezes to focus their time and other resources into operating through Singapore's economic recovery from the Singapore economy's worst recession in 2020. Fresh graduates who are unable to land a job are unable to pay off their student loans and are forced into working undesired job positions to do so. See our reports.
COVID-19 has affected Singapore's business economy greatly, which resulted in the closure of businesses and the loss of jobs, as activities are relying more on close contact. This does not include fresh graduates, who are struggling to find a job that relates to their interests or courses they took in school.
I think it's harder to find a job right now because it's COVID-19. So not a lot of companies and businesses are trying to find fresh graduates like me. They are mostly just trying to cut losses and try to stay in the business as long as they can.
Those looking for work face numerous challenges and fewer options, ranging from short-term contract offers and rejections to reduced job and salary expectations. Internships may also be postponed or cancelled because most companies' primary focus is on cutting losses and staying in business.
Although there are jobs available for the fresh graduates in Singapore, many choose to reject them for the reasons that they are not related to their interests or the salary offered was too low.
I try not to be picky and I try to go for jobs that can increase my skills.
UN News.
As Singaporeans are advised not to travel to the protest-riven Myanmar, Myanmar citizens in Singapore are also unlikely to return home this year due to the country's military government continuing the ban on all international commercial passenger flights to and from the country, and some Myanmar citizens fear that they'll be arrested upon returning home for sharing social media posts of Myanmar's military rule. The Myanmar community in Singapore, which is estimated to be made out of 200,000 Myanmar citizens, are uncertain if they can return home this year, as the country's military rule has indefinitely banned all international commercial passenger flights to and from the country while only permitting special flights.
For me, I don't think I will go back home soon because of the airport is closed and they only let selective people to go inside the country.
Myanmar citizens in Singapore who share social media posts of the military coup's happenings are more uncertain returning home, even if the Myanmar military lifts the ban on commercial international travel. They fear that they will be arrested upon returning to Myanmar for sharing the social media posts.
I might get arrested also because I share the stories of what is happening in Myanmar to the world. They wouldn't allow it. They would consider it as a crime.
In the social media, I have shared a lot of posts about the military related. So if I go back also, there is a chance to get arrested.
Myanmar citizens in Singapore will likely return to Myanmar only once its military rule ends and the restoration of its democracy.
Until we get our democracy, we cannot go back.
As long as our leader Aung San Suu Kyi announced we are going all the way to democracy, and our all the leaders, elective leaders are all free now, then we are considering going back home.
This is Shaun reporting for the UN News 5. The arrest of 3 individuals on January 26 for illegally protesting against transphobia outside the Ministry of Education building has raised controversy among Singaporeans. Some Singaporeans support the arrest, whereas others are against it. However, both sides suggest that the protest should have been resolved less harshly. Our reporter Gaji has more of the story.
The issue of support for the transgendered students in Singapore have been a recent heated topic of discussion.
Can I know your opinion on the recent protests against the MOE regarding transphobia?
Yeah, actually the person who got arrested was one of my friend's classmates. I feel like they handled it very poorly. It could have been better. Okay, they shouldn't, especially the counselor.
I think it is reasonable to a certain degree because we are aware that protesting is illegal in Singapore. I think there could be different means and ways for us to advocate for these students. I think they should be able to express who they are firstly, and secondly is provide them with resources necessary, for example counseling.
What do you think can be done better when you're talking about the future?
Yeah, I feel like Singapore is a bit against the LGBT community. Everybody should be treated equally.
The schools have to like have a certain level of understanding towards this towards the community lah. That's what I believe.
Singapore's effective control over the COVID 19 has helped the authorities to gradually ease the country's COVID 19 measures. However, social gatherings in Singapore are still kept at groups of 8, whereas nightlife businesses remain closed to decrease the likelihood of the COVID 19 transmission. Our reporter Sarah interviews youths at Clarke Quay to know their opinions on these restrictions and how have they affected them.
We're here at Clarke Quay, the hub of Singapore's nightlife. Let's see what the Singaporean youth has to say about the newly enforced COVID-19 social gathering restrictions.
Yeah, I think it's working. Definitely, if it's crowded in bar or KTV, those places, there will be higher risk of getting infected. So I think what government is doing is a correct way.
I guess it's better now because we can go out with our friends, but it's like still limited lah.
I think it's okay because it is to prevent the diseases to like spread. So if things get better, I think like we can limit to more people going out together.
Initially, yes. So some before that, like we go out quite frequently, but for the moment, we can't gather in some places.
We have to like find different timings to go out with different people because the limitation of 8 people. Yeah.
I think it actually affect my studies because we're having HBL lessons and we can't really learn effectively through HBL.
I don't think so. Yeah, maybe in another 1 year or 2 years.
I don't really think so. Probably the next 2 years or so.
While the COVID 19 measures continue to limit social gatherings and keep nightlife businesses closed, they have caused the rise of virtual dating, including sugar dating among Singapore university students. More Singapore university students go into virtual sugar dating to fill their social voids and pay off their hefty school fees. May reports.
With strict measures being brought upon by the COVID-19 pandemic, this has led many to turn to the virtual world to seek ways to fill the social void. An example being online dating and meeting new people on the internet with a huge range of dating apps. But apart from this, the idea of sugar dating has also been getting popularized. Asia's most critically acclaimed online dating brand Sugarbook released a report showing that there has been a rise in the number of sign-ups from Singaporean university students. They saw a 32% leap in the total number of university student sign-ups, and topping the list was Nanyang Technology University with 643 student sign-ups.
I feel that sugar dating is getting more popular amongst university students because university fees are definitely not cheap, and it's actually quite hard to juggle between school and having a part-time job.
To go more in-depth into the sugar dating world, we interviewed Nicole, who's also a student from the National University of Singapore.
I actually found out about sugar dating through one of my uni friends because she had just ventured into sugar dating. So she was telling me about the luxurious gifts her sugar daddy was gifting her, as well as the monthly allowance. Sugar dating is basically a form of dating in which one partner financially supports the other or compensate them for their company either through monetary form or gifts. It's typically with an older guy or woman.
As controversial as sugar dating is, there is no doubt that more people are being open to the idea of it. As university students struggle with the hefty school fees and the global pandemic, this could seem like a solution for some. This is May reporting for UON News.
And that wraps up tonight's news from the UON News 5. Thank you for watching and have a good night.